So I kind of forgot that we had planned to go to part 42 instead of just 41 last part, so I lied.
kind of caught my pants down here.
Uh,
Normally I'd be smiling at this,
uh,
but now it's dreadfully awkward.
John, I do know that the putting the crystal star sequence in front of the thousand-year door is relatively like majestic and stuff, but it's not necessarily fap worthy. Like, put your damn pants back on, man. Yeah. So, yeah. The reason why we're doing the part now as opposed to later is because it's again we're doing more mid-part shenanigans, and that would be really awkward to start a session on. So we're doing it
The
now.
transitions, man. You got to think about the transitions.
Yeah, we're doing it now because we're already out of gas and nobody cares. So yeah.
We have to go to the moon to fight the Mooninites.
I mean, we put a tremendous amount of energy and love into every part we record, without any exceptions. Yes, that'll fool them. Yeah.
Klonoa!
Which Klonoa?
Both, probably.
I'll get to the Game Boy game eventually.
I was under the impression that we already knew the location of the base was on the moon, so when they get the map, it says it's on the moon.
No,
Like, what else do you want?
How
the
convenient.
crystal star is on the moon.
There's
That's
this cursive,
Wow.
fancy cursive writing appears next to the moon on the map that says, "Yeah, idiot." So anyway, Frankly's kind of stumped on how to get to the moon, so he tells you, "I'm gonna have to look this one up. Go do something else." Is essentially what he says. Now, I'm not necessarily sure what the trigger is for him to know how to get to the moon. I don't know if it's based off of time. I don't know if it's a certain amount of events need to happen. Well, it shouldn't be an event, because in order to get to chapter 7, you need to get the super hammer, which you can only get with the super jump. But there's also a line in the dialogue when you eventually do talk to Frankly, when he tells you what you need to do. There is a line he says where he says, "Oh, you'll need to find the super hammer," and then there's a response line that says, "Oh, we already have the super hammer," so there should be a line that says, "Oh, we'll have to go find that," as well.
Oh man, that kind of reminds me of the after credits scene from Jack and Daxter, where if you got 100 power cells already, Daxter is just like, "Hey, we're heroes. We already have 100 power cells."
Yeah, Paper Mario games have always been good about pointing out whenever you've done something beforehand, because there's a part like that in the original Paper Mario as well, where if you know how to solve a specific puzzle, I think it's in Chapter 3, the guy will be like, "Hey, I didn't even ask you to do this." So yeah, you slam your head against that and it knocks.
It's fun when in hindsight characters comment on you jumping the gun.
It's just like, "Oh, did you play the game before or something?"
Yeah. Well, and one of my favorites is we probably mentioned this in a long time ago, but at Arkham Asylum, you can skip to where the Batman needs to go to like a ventilation shaft when they're looking for Dr. Young's notes.
Yeah.
While the Joker's talking to you in a PA system, and you do that, and he calls you out on it. It's like reading the last page first. It's like, shame on you.
You really are the world's greatest detective.
Do they have anything like the Joker is I think the only kind of character in Batman that could pull that off without pull that kind of notice off without feeling out of place, I think.
Maybe the Riddler.
The Riddler does have that line about looking his riddles up on the internet.
Yeah.
Do you gotta punch him in the face in Arkham Knight?
You can punch him in the face as early as City.
Oh. Do you gotta
You gotta
throw
do it
him in
again.
jail and make sure that he never puts another trophy out in the goddamn city ever again?
One can only hope.
Yeah.
Then you come back to visit the cell, and it's shaped of a giant question mark. It's like,
He-
God damn it.
okay.
You guys had one job.
Here is how you make sure Edward Nygma never commits another crime, okay? You just have the FBI constantly watching internet transactions for giant green plastic question marks.
Yeah.
Or, you could just give him a job as, one of those, children's riddle books. Have him write those, and then he wouldn't need to bother Batman anymore.
Actually, in the comics before the New 52, the Riddler went sort of good guy for a while.
Oh.
So that was an interesting thing. He sort of became a crime solver or something. I have no idea what catalyst led to this, because I only found out about it by, like, I think it was Gotham City Sirens, or whatever that whole team up was between Catwoman, Ivy, and Harley Quinn. But yeah, I walked into this comic book story arc where the Riddler was a good guy. I'm like, what? When did that happen? How? Why?
Oh, one thing to note, after Chapter 6, the enemies in Town Tunnels... Town Tunnels, that's the first game. Bowser's troops are now patrolling the Rogueport sewers, which I guess makes sense considering that Bowser just conquered these things in the last Bowser section. So now you've got harder enemies to deal with walking around, which I do appreciate because by this point, by chapter 5 or so, you start avoiding all the enemies in the sewers because they give out shit experience and they're really easy anyway. So I do like that they power them up for the end of the game and that you actually have to try again.
Well, they also have to make sure that you have a place that you can grind for levels at the end of the game, too.
Yeah, because it's more convenient when it's close, because you could always go back to the areas in the chapter that you were, but when you go back to Rogueport, it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to walk all the way back, so...
Yeah.
So, I really should have, you know what, I really should have gone to the Pit of 100 Trials and gotten the Strange Sack, because having to toss out items when you get to 10 is really annoying. And I've never actually done a normal playthrough where I've had the Strange Sack with me, and I don't know how long it would take to get through just the first 50 floors of the Pit of 100 Trials, or what level it would be appropriate to do that, because to be honest, the Pit of 100 Trials is something I only very rarely touch whenever I play Thousand Year Door. It's just part of my mindset when I'm playing a game like this. Most of the time when I reach the credits, I feel like I'm done. So I put the game down, and a lot of times I'll be like, yeah, maybe I'll do the post-game stuff, and then a lot of the times I don't end up doing the post-game stuff.
I'm kind of the same way, honestly. Like, I never really completed the arena stuff in Final Fantasy X, or, God forbid, the hunt marks in Final Fantasy 13.
Those are are those the things with the statues? The game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, to be fair, those aren't really interesting from what I've seen. It's just like, go beat this monster, or so on and so forth.
But here's the thing. In Final Fantasy 13, you don't get your final expansion to the Crystarium level up system until you beat the game.
Also...
So you can't max your characters out before beating the final boss.
Also, we're doing a lot of surfing here, so... Speed up!
No, this is lacking a severe amount of widdly woos.
7.8, too much water.
No, 7.7, not enough water.
So yeah, there's a whole lot of Spinias, I think here are their name, but there's also, I think, the Spunnia. You could have gone into this room as early as the end of Chapter 5, but you can't get the third Shine Sprite here until after Chapter 6, so I figured it was worth it to just go here now so that I can go... it was worth it just do it now so that I'd save myself a trip. Yeah. Apparently, this enemy here is only ever in the Pit of 100 Trials outside of this, because when Goombella reads the description for it, it says Pit of 100 Trials, so... Yeah, the Pit of 100 Trials is a good place to find a lot of enemies that you might have missed throughout the game, because there are some unique enemies there, but they also bring back a lot of enemies from throughout the game that you might have missed the first time, so it's a good way to catch up on tattle logs if you don't feel like backtracking. The thing also does a fuck ton of damage too, so it's really kind of annoying. But you can, it's still the same animation as the Spinias, so you should be able to super guard it pretty easily. I just fucked up, because I suck.
I wonder if they included this one here on purpose, or if it was some kind of mistake.
No, they did. They put it here on purpose. I think it's just to make the room more well guarded, I suppose, because there are 3 Shine Sprites here. That's enough to level up a party member on its own. So I
Well,
think
maybe it's also a way to get players curious.
um,
Should they use Tattle on it?
yeah, that I would not be surprised if they wanted people to, like, because that's kind of a sign. Hey, you're strong enough to handle things in the Pit 100 trials now,
Yeah.
so you might want to try it. Then again, though, I don't know an awful lot of people who go out of their way to complete the Pit 100 trials before they beat the game, though. Most of the time, that's something I've heard of people doing after they beat the game, or maybe that's just my stilted experience, though.
It depends on your mentality, because when I do an RPG, I tend to do as much as I possibly can on my way through the game,
Yeah.
rather than leaving it until later.
That's what I do.
That's true, but there are also areas there are also a lot of areas in games that are, meant to be done after the game. Like, this is where you really test your skills. There's countless examples of that. I guess the only difference between the Pit 100 trials and like those areas is that it's open to you as soon as you like, as early as I think like the end of chapter 1 or 2, you can get access to the Pit 100 trials. So it's just something that you can choose to start whenever, I guess is more the thing. I'm actually kind of wondering what the lowest level you could get through the Pit of 100 trials is. I mean, if you started doing it then and you were able to keep on going, you'd probably level up ridiculously quickly, given the experience yield some of the later enemies would have. But I completely lost my train of thought. Never mind. We unlocked our our quick travels to chapters 5 and 6. So yay. And yeah, and also there was no good way to cut to this, so I ran into a Magic Koopa in the middle of backtracking. So this is the Magic Koopa title.
This is an evil Koopa wizard named Weisenheimer.
What Mario cartoon is that from?
Mario World.
Mario World. Okay, that's the really bad one, right?
Yeah.
And Mario 3 is the pretty bad one, and Super Show is the enjoyably bad one.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad I have all that in.
Super Show's the enjoyably bad one that came saddled with kind of a really lame Zelda cartoon.
You know what? I enjoy the Zelda cartoon. As dumb as it is, I think it's funny.
The Royal Water Park.
I'm looking some up, and apparently you can do the Pit of 100 trials as early as level 2 or 3.
Like, finish it?
What I'm reading.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be able to get the Bone Tail at level 2 or 3 because you have to beat all the enemies in a room in order to go down a floor, and you wouldn't be able, and you'd gain enough experience by you'd gain enough experience by the time you got to Bone Tail. You'd probably be like level 10. I mean, I know you can do a virtual level 1 run in Paper Mario by just upgrading badge points every time and only ever equipping yourself with 3 points of badges. And I think you can beat the game that way, probably by doing Danger Mario attack.
If every attack in this game can be guarded, or super guarded anyway,
then it's possible.
then yes, it's possible.
It's just really fucking hard.
Very fucking unlikely.
Yeah, because we said before the time span for super guarding is
3 frames.
3 frames.
3 to 4 frame window, yeah.
Yeah,
which is very, very tight because Paper Mario is a 60 frame per second game.
Yes.
Yeah, and turn-based RPG fans, like people who are really into the gameplay, there's always that crowd amongst them where if it's possible to do something at the lowest possible level, they will do it. Like, there are like low-level runs of Final Fantasy VII and such where they somehow manage to finagle their way all the way to the end of the game, keeping their levels as low as possible. And they do it by utilizing all those battle items and stuff that you tend to ignore when you're playing the game normally because they're not as useful.
I only tend to consider it when I feel I've got as much as I possibly could by playing the game normally.
Yeah.
Because I ended up doing that with Final Fantasy VI a few times, and to be fair, it does make 6 more interesting if you feel it's too easy.
You said that natural magic is the most...
to me, to get the most bang for your buck with 6 without breaking the game, which I understand it's very easy to do just by breathing at it, a low-level natural magic game really puts you on your toes. with
Yeah,
what you can do and what you can't do.
Natural magic being where you can't, where only characters who level up and gain magic that
And
way
gain
get
magic that, and Gal's Rages, Strago's Blue Magic.
No.
And pretty much everything that you can't use Magicite. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
You can't
Yeah.
use Magicite.
You want to know what the real bastard thing about that is, though? If you don't use Magicite, the only way to get Ultima is Terra leveling up to 99.
You can get the Paladin Shield.
Well, does Terra gain magic just by leveling up? Because I thought that
Yeah.
you could get her.
Terra and Celis.
I thought that they. Well, if it's a natural magic run, you shouldn't have Celis because she was unnaturally given magic. Sorry.
It isn't natural.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I thought
but,
I thought that Terra after a point stopped learning magic naturally, and you had to give her Magicite.
No,
Anyway.
No.
she learns magic spells all the way up to level 99. It's just kind of it's sparsely given to her as she levels up. Like there are massive level gaps where she just won't gain anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, she learns spells all the way up to level 99, and her level 99 spell is Ultima.
Okay, so it's probably just if she you can learn the spell beforehand through Magicite, and it's just quicker
Yeah.
that way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 6 is a game I should replay again because I've only played it once, and I did enjoy it the time I did play it.
Yeah, and I only recommend doing those kind of runs if you liked what you played in the first place.
Yeah.
You know?
If I were gonna play it again, I'd probably use Magicite and stuff just because I don't think I'm good enough. I don't know the game well enough to be able to.
Well, to be honest, also 6, no matter the run, still is one of the easier Final Fantasies.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
necessarily a bad game. Like Paper Mario is pretty easy, all things considered, as well.
No.
It's there is a audience for hard RPGs, and if there wasn't, Atlas would be out of business. But not every game needs to be ball bustingly hard because sometimes they don't like
No.
dying.
And I agree.
I like to live.
Well, I like my challenging games, and I like my games that are relaxing and easy to get through too. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in at a given time.
I think that an RPG, as long as you can play the game without having to mash auto battle, it's fine. I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, you kind of just summed up what was wrong with Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, because it's just because Are we ever gonna do that game? Please say no.
No, you know what? I'm putting my foot down. Final Fantasy 13 will never appear on this fucking channel. 13-2, maybe. Lightning Returns, actually, almost definitely, because I really want to record that game. 13-1, no. Go watch H.C. Bailey's channel. He did a perfectly good Let's Play of it, and he stayed positive. Okay, so
But what if you want a really negative
I'm
playthrough
saying
of 13?
you never say never.
if you want a really negative playthrough of Final Fantasy 13, okay, why don't you just loop any 2 seconds of an angry video game nerd video over footage of Final Fantasy 13, alright? It would probably be just as engaging as a legitimate...
Well, let's give the microphone to Matt for like a good hour. Because he platinumed the game, despite saying that he hates it.
Oh god. Oh god, that poor...
Platinuming the game probably requires...
No. To platinum the game, you have to max out every role for every character. That is a ridiculous amount of grinding. You also have to get, I think, 5-star ranks in all the hunts. Oh god.
He did it.
Matt, alright, if you're watching this, why?
Because he hates the game.
Fuck.